Hey, y'all, this is a reminder. If anybody didn't tell you, you're beautiful, you're worth it, you're gorgeous, you're enough, you're everything, you're loved, you're more than what they tell you, especially in them school. Don't forget how much important and beautiful your soul is. And don't let anybody, and I mean anybody, tell you nothing.
But of course, there's always one Black person that explains in great detail exactly what we're talking about. And that is what has to stop. We don't have to explain our culture to nobody. It's like, if you know type of thing. We've seen a lot of people tell us that we don't have culture while profiting and monetizing and hijacking said culture. And we've seen a lot of people become very wealthy from just knowing a little bit about our culture. But yeah, the point I'm making is this. Don't explain. If they don't know, good. They don't need to know. Do not explain our culture to nobody.
I totally get why you would think that supporting certain senators would lead to real change, because that's how the system's supposed to work. Listening to the people. But in reality, most senators and congressional leaders are influenced first by their biggest donors. Corporations, lobbying groups, and political insiders. Those are the people that fund their campaigns and keep them in power. So they listen to them before they listen to us. Our voices as voters don't carry much weight unless we're organizing, loud, and posing a real threat to their positions, like risking their re-election, media reputation, and public image. Writing these leaders isn't enough. We need to be part of a bigger, coordinated push. It's really important to know who funds them. Look into their campaign donors and lobbying affiliations, because that's the real indicator for how they're going to vote and what policies they're going to push, not speeches and not campaign promises. A senator backed by pharmaceutical companies, for instance, he's probably not going to push for universal health care, no matter how progressive they make themselves sound to you. But if you want to know how we can actually be powerful, local action does work. When communities organize locally through mutual aid, protests, independent media, local elections, and direct action, that creates real pressure from the ground up. Local officials are more accessible and easier to influence. Building power there can snowball into real change. Plus, mutual aid networks give people the support they need to survive. They can resist without relying on corrupt systems. It's about taking care of each other and building alternatives, while also applying pressure to the people in power. If you want to support congressional leaders, don't just stop at supporting them. Know who funds them and watch how they vote. But most importantly, organize.
And that's why psychos run the world. Because they don't give a fuck. They don't feel guilt. They don't give a shit. They'll fucking kill anybody. You know? And nice people, we should be killing them, but we don't because we can't deal with the guilt. Right? And what do psychos do? They stay in power by killing loud, nice people. Martin Luther King, loud, nice. I know he banged a bunch of broads. Who gives a fuck? Guy was fucking up there crushing it. If nice people start killing psychos, okay, maybe then you wouldn't have a swirl of trash the size of Texas in the middle of the fucking Pacific Ocean. Do we work on that? No, because there's psychos in the world, and all they end up doing is trying to keep improving golf equipment so these man-titted fucking cunts can keep a ball on the fairway.
I need you bitches who just got radicalized like within the last 5 years to really step up, because those of us who've been doing this for over a decade cannot watch the crying liberal videos about this is serious now. Why are we so docile? How did we get here? And not want to immediately throw up. So if y'all could pick up the slack on that, I'd really appreciate it, because I've been yelling about this for 13 years of my own fucking life, and I should have more compassion. This is a failing of mine. I'm realizing this. I should have more compassion for people who are just now waking up to like, why are we so docile? When these are the same people who were mocking me about class consciousness for 13 years. So y'all, it's your turn. Your turn. Here's your baton. I got other shit to do. I feel like I've earned that. I'm sorry.
Hey man, Happy New Year. Bro, New Year's was months ago. That's what they want you to think. What do you mean? The real New Year starts in the spring when everything wakes up. At least that's how it's always been until the Gregorian calendar messed everything up. So how did the Gregorian calendar mess things up? Pope Gregory introduced the Gregorian calendar not to keep time, but to remind folks when to pay taxes. That's why it's called calendar, because in ancient Rome, calends was the day that debts were recorded. Wait a minute. You're saying the calendar was built for taxes? Exactly. And the whole system got thrown off earlier when Julius Caesar and Augustus decided they wanted their own months. That's how we got July and August. Well, why is February so short? Because Augustus wanted his month to be just as long as Julius's, so he stole a date from February. So they reshuffled time to feed their egos. Here I thought they made February short because they were just racist towards Black History Month. But this makes more sense. And that's not even the craziest part. Have you ever noticed the months don't even truly line up to their names? Think about it. September, Septem, 7, but it's the 9th month. October, Octo, 8, but it's the 10th month. November means 9, but it's the 11th month. December, Deca, 10, but it's the 12th month. So they really out here just messing things up. If the calendar was actually accurate, we would have 13 months, not 12. But why 13? Because it follows the natural cycles of the moon's 28 days, which also corresponds to women's menstrual cycles. You see, ancient cultures had it right. They based their calendar based off the moon and the cosmos, not taxes. So every month would be 28 days. Exactly. And the first day of every month would always land on the same day of the week. So we're really just out here living in a system designed to confuse us. And now you see why they call it April Fool's Day.
Let's make no mistake that if your religion or your spirituality does not demand liberation for all entities on this earth, it's not God that you're seeking.
Would you dare visit this dangerous country? Currently on multiple travel advisory lists and boasting some of the highest child death rates, this is the United States. Visiting here could risk detainment, but is it worth it? I got to try some excellent local delicacies such as green juice, which locals rely on due to so many chemicals in the food here. Corporations and landlords own everything, and you can always be replaced. Still, beautiful landscapes exist here, but they were acquired through murdering local populations. Now, in the US, I risk censorship saying that, as woke opinions is on its way to becoming a criminal offense in the United States. There are so many cute dogs here, many of whom have more rights than women. Sometimes you'll come across ugly sights in neighborhoods that contain violent people. Due to underfunded and lack of public transportation and infrastructure designed around cars, the people here are isolated and starving for intimacy, which makes them kind and wanting to have fun. If you want to witness history in the fall of democracy, I highly suggest the US. Let me know in the comments. Are you brave enough to visit?
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
Human beings aren't destroying the planet. They're not destroying nature. Human beings are nature. Nature is destroying nature. If David Attenborough was narrating this, there's no distinction here. If it was some, like, alien David Attenborough, you know what I mean? And they were narrating this season of Earth.
And curiously, we see that this particular organism has overtaken the planet, thusly destroying all of the ecology necessary to keep them all alive.
Mine's not as good as some of the other people on here, but you see what I'm trying to say. Like, we're not separate from nature. Like, we are nature doing all of this to itself.
Have you ever thought about how for every 2 police officers, there's 1,000 American citizens? Or have you ever thought about how for every politician, there's 400,000 Americans? Have you ever thought about how the fact that there's 336 American cities with at least a population of 100,000 people?
What's good? It's Lyrics Born. Just a random thought. You know, I've been an independent artist my entire career. I've only set foot in a major label office 1 or 2 times in my entire life. Every opportunity that I've ever had, I created. I created it. Nobody is gonna save your motherfucking ass. You got to get out there and do it. It ain't always the shit that we want to hear, you know, and it doesn't mean that I haven't had help along the way. Of course I have. I wouldn't have made it without help. But the point is, it came from here, and then it came from here. You know what I mean? And then it came from here, and then it came from here.